Boris Johnson does not seem to understand the difference between fact and fiction, former Tory chairman Lord Patten has told BBC Newsnight. Lord Patten, who supports the UK remaining in the EU, said Mr. Johnson, a prominent Leave campaigner, just makes it up as he goes along. He also said it would be very difficult for David Cameron to remain leader if the UK voted to leave the EU. Vote Leave said it was saddened at the level of debate from the Remain camp. Mr. Johnson has previously said voters want proper debate and to hear about the issues, not personal attacks. The UK decides whether to stay in or leave the European Union in a referendum on June 23. The Conservative Party is deeply split over the issue, with David Cameron and most of his cabinet campaigning for a Remain vote but about half of the MPs supporting an EU exit. The debate inside the party has turned increasingly acrimonious, with former Chancellor and pro-Remain campaigner Lord Heseltine recently accusing Mr. Johnson of losing his judgment over the EU. Boris is Boris's. Lord Patten, Tory party chairman from 1990 to 1992, added to that criticism of the former London mayor, in an interview with Newsnight's David Grossman, to be broadcast later on Friday. Boris just makes it up as he goes along, and you come across people like that, he said. There's a sense in which you can't call Boris a liar. I think he's one of those people in life who simply doesn't really understand the difference between fact and fiction. He'll be saying the opposite in a few months' time. Lord Patten, a European commissioner from 2000 to 2004, said Mr. Johnson was an amiable character, but added, Boris is Boris. Tommy Cooper was Tommy Cooper. In response, Vote Leave said, it's sad to see the level of debate the Remainers have been reduced to. They were wrong about the euro then and they are wrong now. The Daily Mail reported earlier this week that senior party figures had warned of a vote of no confidence in Mr. Cameron after June 23, whatever the outcome, over his handling of the referendum campaign. On the question of reuniting the Conservative Party after the referendum, Lord Patten said that if the UK voted to leave the EU it would be very difficult for Mr. Cameron to stay on as leader. Are people like Michael Gove and Mr. Johnson and Ian Duncan Smith, are they all going to require Mr. Cameron to go cap in hand around Europe for the next few years trying to negotiate new trade deals and new agreements with the EU? I don't know, he said. Neverending concerns. Lord Patten said if Britain voted to remain in the EU, Mr. Cameron would have to assert his authority and try to bring the party together. But he suggested the PM should give Mr. Johnson a challenging cabinet post, such as running the Department for Health. That will really test whether there is something behind all the jokes, he said. Lord Patten also criticised the wider Vote Leave campaign, saying its objective appeared to be to keep the turnout as low as possible and to tell young people to stay at home and not vote, which, he said, was extraordinary. And he added, I worry that for a lot of the Brexiters, in a sort of spittle-flecked way, this is a neverendum, not a referendum. Also in the interview, the former Tory party chairman conceded that he had made the wrong call on Britain joining the euro. I put my hand up, he said. Everybody occasionally makes a mistake and I think I was wrong about that.